I'd like to welcome you to this week's report. Today is Thursday, October something. I actually have no idea what the date is because I just got back from vacation. But yeah, so sorry for missing last week, but I went back to visit Rachel's family in upstate New York for 4 days, and then we went to Boston for 3 days. A lot of fun. Beautiful time of year back east with all the leaves turning and everything else. Nice cool weather. But happy to be back, ready to go fishing again. Speaking of weather, it's going to be a little breezy this weekend. Certain areas, Channel Islands, look windy all weekend. Nick, Clemente, that zone, Saturday's windy. Sunday looks a little bit better. Sunday's definitely the better weather day. But private boaters may want to stay a little bit closer to home just due to the wind. But as usual, at this time of year, it changes. Forecasts change rapidly, so you definitely want to check your weather before you head out, if it's going to be good or bad. So heading up to the Channel Islands. No real big hits over the last week, or a couple weeks since we last talked. There has been a scattering of sea bass, halibut, rockfish, bass, stuff like that. I know that the Aloha Spirit had 15 halibut the other day for 11 guys. Early in the week, or late last week, they had 7 sea bass on the trip. Those things are there to be caught. I wouldn't count on it. I'd count on catching rockfish and sheephead, bass, stuff like that, and hopefully catch a sea bass or halibut. My friend Scott Summersgill went up to Channel Islands last weekend. He had some good fishing for calicos and got a nice sheephead as well. So, you know, private boaters, it may not be a great weekend to go up there just because it could be windy. But that fishing is available year-round up there as far as the bass and rockfish go. And remember, if you're fishing rockfish, you have to fish over 300 feet of water right now. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. Yeah, sorry about that. Air travel plays heck with my sinuses. I'm just having allergies and all kinds of other stuff today. So, heading down to Clemente. Still some boats fishing there, catching yellowtail. I know the Fury out of Dana Point's been fishing there, getting fish pretty consistently. Thunderbird's been there some days. They're also catching rockfish over there. And not this week, but the week before, some friends went over to fish bass at Clemente, and they had good fishing, weedless swim baits, stuff like that, just typical fall pattern. And Gary Reyes, though, said it was the top 3 all-time worst ride home from Cat back to Titan Harbor, which is, I've been there, and I know how horrible that can be. So, private boaters, if you're going to go there, plan on leaving before the wind blows out of the west, and if you're planning on staying past that, just bring a snorkel and goggles so you can breathe and see on the way home from the island. Sorry that my nope thing shut off here. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the deep water rock fishing that's happening now in rock fishing in general. Starting on October 1st, they shifted the depths you can fish to, you have to fish over 300 feet. You can't fish less than 300 feet, and you can fish to an unlimited depth. Now that 300 feet is not an arbitrary depth. You have to look at the Fish and Game has a chart where they have these lines drawn that show you the depth zones that you could be in or not be in. So if you're on the deeper side of the depth zone marker that they have, or if you're on the outside of it, you can fish in less than 300 feet of water, but you can't fish in less than 300 feet of water inside of it. It's all very confusing. You should go to the Fish and Game website and maybe send them an email telling them how stupid the whole thing is. But something else you have to have a descending device on the boat. Regardless of whether you use it or not, you have to have it. So you can buy one of those equalizers. I have one. I have mine connected to a 12-pound weight, because anything less than that, you're going to have trouble getting cow cod to go down, and that's the thing you got to release. I hate to see them left floating, but if you got a 5 or 6 pound weight on there, it's not going to take that fish back down. Yeah, what else? Yeah, basically everybody that's fishing cod is doing pretty well, it seems like. The guys on the coast and the Cat, like the Western Pride and the Freelance, those boats, they're having to fish a lot deeper than the than the boats that are going further. So, you know, if you're going 3/4 or half day trip, you're going to probably be fishing 500 or 600 feet. There are shallower options if you go further. Clemente has them, San Nick, Santa Barbara. I talked to Oliver Nye. He's been fishing cod lately as well as tuna. So he's been kind of doing these trips where he's just going out and, you know, fishing cod. If he stumbles on some tuna, his guys want to catch him, he'll fish for those. So he's been getting both some trips. But he's been focusing mostly on fishing the big reds, on slow pitch jigs and things like that. He sent me this video I'll share here.
We are all relearning fishing all over again. Right there. Get him. Wine, 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 wine. That looks like a proper one.
That was an excellent bite.
Look at that. Nice. That slack is a fish that's got it like that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. That's a good red.
Right?
Boom. Saw that. Saw that. Yeah.
I'm going to say this is more fun.
The quality of fish that live on some of these holes is gargantuan. Look at that red. Oh my goodness. Is that a PB possibly?
Oh, that is definitely a PB.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's the biggest one I've ever seen.
This is why you come fishing with Oliver.
Yeah, anyway, he's going to be running these trips for a couple more months here. And if the tuna are around, he'll fish for them. If not, you can have some fun, catch some nice reds, other rockfish. Yeah, you know, if you're a private boater who wants to fish rockfish, get yourself an electric reel. I'm hoping to talk about the new Penn Fathom electric reel soon here. I'm waiting to get one. I'm still using my JDM Stiowas, but Penn has come out with a appropriately sized electric reel now that has actually the batteries attached to the reel. So you don't need the battery pack or the cables or any of that stuff. I'm looking forward to trying those out. So yeah, that's about it for rockfish. They're biting everywhere. Your best chance, if you're going on a sport boat, be up at the Channel Islands or on an overnight trip where you might go out to Nick. I know the boat's fishing Tanner and Cherry Banks, we catch rockfish as well. Not much happening on the coast. I want to mention that I got another message last week from Fumio, who went back out, got another nice calico bass, back up that 9 pounder. I think this one was over 4 pounds. So good for him. I was hoping to go this afternoon to fish, but by the time I landed, I got home, it was like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I was just exhausted from getting up at 4 o'clock Eastern time, and decided to shine fishing. Maybe I'll go tomorrow. So, you know, the last thing that's not offshore, it's Coronado Islands are still biting. Boats are still getting some a few bluefin out there, not as many as they were. Yellows are biting good. San Diego, Mission Bell, those boats have been pretty consistently getting fish. I think the highest score for the San Diego one day was 79 fish this week. Most of those fish are coming on yo-yo jigs and or dropper loops. Not actively feeding on the surface right now. That could change. I'd definitely bring a surface iron rod, flatline rod, and a yo-yo rod, but I wouldn't fish a dropper loop because that's just boring to me. Yeah, and they're getting less pressure down there than they were. They're still getting a lot, but it's, you know, it's the only game in town, so they're really going after it there. Yeah, I apologize again. Those allergies are just kicking my butt right now. Offshore fishing, still bluefin up in this area. Some days they bite great, other days they're hard to find. I know that I got a couple of reports from Jonathan over the last week here where he went on 2 trips in a row, got nice bluefin on topwater lures, cast to him, which is great to hear. I talked to Sika Sport Fishing, and they've been out there catching the bluefin, and they actually caught a really nice sized yellowfin the other day as well, mixed in with that bluefin stuff. And these guys aren't going to all the way out to Tanner and Cortez. They're fishing closer to home. There's fish around Clemente. There's fish up off the west end of Cat, up towards, you know, SBI, San Nick, that whole zone. I know that Mitch on the Blackfish did a trip. He caught a bunch of rockfish and also caught some nice bluefin. So there's the ability to do a combo type trip. One of the things to consider on those deals is that I heard from a report from the El Dorado saying that they'd been running overnight trips and going out to Tanner and Cortez, that area, and that stuff's not biting till later in the day. So they just kind of had to nix that whole thing, because by the time the bite is, they already had to go home. So anytime you're going to target tuna, I would go on a day-and-a-half trip or longer if you're on a sport boat. Preferably a 2 or 3 day trip. So yeah, other than that on the beach, there had been some marlin around Cat, and that kind of dried up now. I talked to Graham Tripper, I hope I'm saying your last name right, and last weekend, not weekend before, he fished marlin. Didn't see anything around Cat, but they got a couple fish down off the 312, so still fish around, probably some more down there mixed in with that little bit of yellowfin that's down in San Diego. Not even really enough to bother mentioning, but probably the best action right now is out at Cherry and Tanner and Cortez Banks. Boats are getting bluefin, they're catching rockfish. I know the Tribute had a bunch of, they had limits of bluefin, limits of nice reds. Old Glory had limits of tuna with, you know, say most are in the 40 to 60 pound range. They're getting them during the day and at night on jigs. Thunderbird's been on them. Polaris Supreme had 129 bluefin for to 180 pounds for their 3 day. And my friend Matt Florentino, I think he went on the Aztec. He ran into a situation that you run into when fishing tuna a lot, especially when you're fishing those banks. There's a real mix of fish, and he was fishing for the smaller bluefin with 25 pound, and he took this fish here and paid for it dearly. Yeah, if it were me, I don't know. I'd probably just break it off and try and start over. But yeah, just be aware of the situation you're in, and you know, sometimes you're better off not catching a fish that kills you and takes you out of the game for half an hour, 45 minutes if they're biting well enough. I've done it in the past, just broken fish off, grabbed heavier gear, but you know, that's the deal. Still good fishing. I don't think this weather is going to do much, but make it a little breezy for the next few days. But you know, it should go back. I don't think it have any effect on the fishing. And I'm hoping to get back out on the water here soon. Maybe tomorrow, definitely over the weekend. Yeah, I guess that's about it. I hope you guys have a great weekend and good luck if you fish.